Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. Today we have Usman Khalid joining us from Centric, one of BBN's partners who are based in 3 countries, I think, the US, in Pakistan and in Dubai. And Usman is today with us to talk to us about building trust in a digital world in terms of strategic relationships. Just a little bit of housekeeping before we get started. Everyone is on listen only mode just now. Let me admit a few more coming in. But at the end of the presentation, we'll have time for some Q&A. If you want to ask a question, you can just raise your hand, use the raise hand icon at the top, and I can release the microphone and you can ask your question. If you have a question during the presentation, feel free to type in your questions into the Q&A panel or even into the chat. I'll keep an eye on those as we go along. Okay, well, thanks very much for everyone being here. And Usman, thank you very much for coming today to present to us. So I'm going to hand over to you.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Annette. And thank you, everyone, for joining this webinar. We are going to talk about relationship marketing today. Let me just share my screen. All right. And so basically, the whole core idea of doing this webinar right now is that all the new technologies that are coming into the workplace now with respect to AI and ChatGPT and other AI tools that are coming in, it's becoming more and more of a marketer's job to do relationship marketing. Previously, it was more or less the sales job to build those relationships in the targeted accounts. So without further ado, let me just start with what actually is a relationship marketing, right? So it is basically building the long-term relationship with your customers and stakeholders. So this is not just closing the new deals, closing the new accounts, but also having the advocacy in play, letting them recommend or word of mouth marketing for your brands. So there are, whenever we talk about marketing at a very high level, we can differentiate at 2 areas, the B2C customer journeys or marketing, or B2B. So when we look at a B2C customer journey, we normally look at awareness, interest, desire, and action. A lot of these are emotional purchases. Some of them are logical purchases being a house, somewhat of car, and all the big ticket items can be considered logical purchases where people actually compare multiple different scenarios and they are looking more at the functional specs of a product instead of the look and feel of the product. So, but when we look at the B2C and relationship marketing, we typically look at loyalty programs, personalization, and multi-level marketing. So let's talk on a couple of accounts over here. So personalization, I believe that Amazon does an amazing job of that. So this is why it has about 190 million active customers just in the US, and so on and so forth. In terms of loyalty programs, Sephora is predominantly is doing an amazing job in terms of loyalty programs. And you would see that if you are part of the Sephora loyalty program, you would see gifts coming in every quarter. You would have certain elements bespoke to you. They possibly do it by segmentations at the back end, and a very significant and a very high level of content churn that actually happens. Then also comes the multi-level marketing. So Herbalife would be a really good example. So they do not approach the customers directly, or they do it through their advocates or ambassadors. So they practically have a whole distributor wholesaler model, which what we typically see in B2B elements in a B2C environment. When we look at the B2B customer journey, it's a bit longer. There are multiple stakeholders, and it starts from awareness, just knowing that this company or this product exists and it provides this particular service. Uh, then it moves to interest. Once the interest is built, then the decision is actually a separate part because typically multiple decision makers are involved. Then an action is taken, whether that's an RFP or contacting the vendor to actually come and present, and then actually the sales happen. And post that, the referral could take place. So when we look at B2B, different type of relationship marketing, one is companies go directly to the clients or field sales. So Pfizer would be an amazing example in that. You know, we all know how the drug reps are. They actually go and sit at doctors' offices for hours on end just to get a 5-minute meeting. They do an excellent job of remembering the birthdays, the anniversaries, as well as any other important areas within their target clients. And they typically go in with gifts. They typically don't go empty handed. Then we can also look at the channel programs, and here Microsoft comes into mind, because not only did they build an extensive channel across the whole world, because different cultures build relationships in a different manner. Some people like to deal with their friends only. Well, everyone likes to deal with friends, but some people are more conservative to just be dealing with friends or only word of mouth recommendations. So Microsoft has done an amazing job in terms of building their partners and distributors all across the world, which means that they leave a margin on the table for those companies to actually close. They have done another amazing job in terms of talent development. So they have academic programs, they have certifications, so that there are enough people in the marketplace to actually be able to advocate for Microsoft. Um, Also, in terms of talent development as well as content marketing, HubSpot comes into play. HubSpot has done a really good job in terms of a mid-market CRM or an entry-level CRM. And this was a company that started off with an inbound marketing tool, and they have grown since that time. They have their own CMS and so on and so forth. They are also a really good example of how you could build different personas and build a website on DXP, which is digital experience platforms, and provide customized customer journeys on scale to help them self onboard themselves. The reason I put Deloitte over there, their model is a bit different. So they start with the C-suite. So they start with the consultancy approach. They build the relationship right on the top, and then all the downstream work that gets generated comes down to in terms of delivery. Then that work comes down into play, and Deloitte Tech is typically the one that is also bidding for that work. So there are different ways that these companies work and build the relationships with their customers. So today, when we are going to be talking about, so first of all, we are going to be primarily talking about B2B relationship marketing and how AI tools are now helping scale this area. The other part is that within the B2B marketing, we are not going to talk about retention and advocacy right now. We are going to talk about it probably in another webinar. So when we look at the majority of B2B marketing, back in the 70s, it was product-centric marketing. It was like, I don't care what you have or what your problems are. This is my product. If this suits you, that's great. It was predominantly product feature, advertisements, and everything that the product does, right? It was not like how it's going to help you in your life, how it's going to alleviate your problems that you are facing. In the 80s, it became a sales-oriented marketing, and this is where some people may think that sales got a bad name in terms of a career profile, but here we see like hardcore sales pushing people around, creating FOMO within the sales cycle. Then came the brand building in the 90s, and in the 2000s, we started seeing more and more of digital marketing coming into play. Um, in the 2010s, and again, I would give credit to HubSpot as they were one of the frontiers when it came to content marketing, and practically everyone that's on our client list and possibly BBN client list as well is was heavily driven towards data-driven marketing, because we started collecting more and more data points for our uh, customers and content marketing. 2020s is all about account-based marketing and relationship marketing. So we are in a decade where it's going to become more customized, more unique marketing on a per account basis. So when we look at ABM, but in the traditional sense, so ABM starts off with an internal client-side collaboration between sales and marketing, where it's decided which industries to target or which clients to target. Yeah. And then the marketing jumps on and identifies the prospects within that account, like in terms of whether people are influencers, decision makers. It's typically based on titles. And then specific content is created for only those customers. So that content is typically industry focused. So if you have an energy customer, you're going to look at your energy case studies and so on and so forth, and how your given product helped the energy industry, etc. And then you would start the engagement within the account through either very specific ads or emails or other reach out methods. And then you go to the optimization side. So basically, what has happened is that with the advent of AI and us securing our data properly, so identifying prospects is now practically every company that is using CRM has a decent set of data for the past 10, 15, 20 years. So we don't have to only rely on what the sales are saying or what they think is going to work, but we can now process that data at scale and figure out what your ideal client profile would be like. So that becomes somewhat of a game changer, because especially if you are selling a very high value product or service which goes into hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions of dollars, then basically as a company you have less number of clients, but so you can focus more on your clients and know a bit better on that. But what if you are still B2B but are selling a comparatively lower ticket items? Then you have a lot of clients. These clients are typically industry agnostic, so across multiple industries, and then it becomes an issue on how to actually target or expand your current client base. So with that into play, once you extract the CRM dump and figure out who your typical ICPs are, then there could be a better conversation around that. The second bit that comes in is content, and I believe there won't be anyone in this webinar that hasn't used AI tools so far. And we know one of the best things that they do is they can create customized content given the right inputs and the right prompt. As an example, we know people, and within Centric as well, we have Google News alerts. We look at different news for our clients and we try to engage them, or our prospects, and we try to engage them based on those news items. And it becomes highly customized content. It becomes very fresh content. And then when it comes to engagement, so we there are two types of engagement that typically companies do, and the second type is going to become more and more evident. One is, engagement from the marketing platform. So whatever CRM at centric dxb.com or info at centric dxb.com, etc., that still is not very personalized, and the receiver of that thinks that a brand has reached out. So if you want to see whether people like to interact with brands or not, go look at the social pages, whether those are LinkedIn or Facebook. uh, the engagement level versus the follower level has significantly come down over the last 10 years. So people like to talk to other people. So the other part is that we empower our sales colleagues to actually go out and engage the customer with real names, with the real reply to addresses, with real LinkedIn profiles, so that we are on one side from a marketing perspective, we are doing it on scale. And on the other side, if the customer is coming back to us or a prospect is coming back to us, they are coming back to a human. And most of these things were typically being done by the sales side. So um, marketing would do, even in ABM, marketing would do ABM research, would start the advertisements, so on and so forth. But when it came to specific account-based research, that would actually come down to the salespeople uh, that are tasked to actually reach out to those particular accounts. So, but that is shifting more and more towards marketing, because research is becoming so much more easier now in the digital age of automation and AI tools. Um, so when we look at B2B side of things, it's imperative for us to look at what do buyers want. Like we need to understand buyers a bit more. So there was a big study by American Marketing Association, and the results are fairly recent, from spring of 2024. Um, so remember, successful marketing strategies directly impact the top line. So we all agree on that. Yes, brand building is great, but if you are going to go to your CEO to get more budget, he's going to be looking at the top line revenue and the impact of marketing on on the revenue of the organization. So, so some of these stats are coming in from LinkedIn Deep Sales. The question that was asked to the buyers was, describe your sales professional. And this is a really good insight, that a lot of buyers are actually saying that my salespeople are consultative and they are trustworthy. So this means that the salespeople are doing an amazing job in terms of engaging the clients. Okay, so so basically, when the question was asked that, okay, what do you want more from the seller side? So there were two elements that came out very clearly. One was the understanding of their business needs, and the other one was understanding of our industry and competitors. And now, if I stop here and go back to Deloitte or KPMG, they normally, their sales method is that whenever they come for a pitch, they come up with industry stats that are so in depth for your particular industry, that like, how is textile manufacturing growing in North America versus Latin America versus Europe, and but how is that happening, so on and so forth. So very insightful and deep industry understanding these consultant companies have on the industry, and that's why they are able to penetrate the boardroom or the C-suite. And we need to do a bit more of that. And as marketers, I'll assure you that the the next 6 years of this decade, there would be a lot of research-based hours that we are going to be putting in. Um, Another interesting bit is that even though email comes with a really bad reputation, but if asked the buyers, what's their preferred first outreach method? Overwhelmingly, they are saying email. They don't like phone calls. They don't like WhatsApp or messengers or texts. Uh, but email is it's the email outreach strategy is a must for every organization. Um, and 78% of the buyers want personalized communications. They do not want just your newsletter or just a general view of what you are doing. They want more personalized communication. When we look at so where else are the buyers? So buyers have told us that they like or they prefer receiving an email over text or anything. But where are buyers more open? On social media, where we can actually know a bit more about their pain points, what they are thinking based on the posts that they are doing. um, and 80% of B2B leads generated on social media are from LinkedIn. I do not know which other platform generates the remaining 20%, probably just plain Instagram and Facebook, etc. But uh, LinkedIn strategy becomes a really big cornerstone of every B2B enterprise trying to sell into B2B clients. Now, so remember this thing, that now we know that they like or they prefer receiving emails and they are active on social media. So what else do we know about them? So 90% of B2B buying is influenced by peer recommendations. um, you might have met a lot of people, or you might have interviewed in organizations where you ask them how are they growing their business, and they go like word of mouth. So word of mouth is basically peer recommendations. So 90% is happening on that. And another interesting stat, which is quite an eye opener for every marketer out there, is that 72% of the leads worked on by SDRs, which are sales development representatives, is generated by their own prospecting. It's not coming in from marketing. So maybe we as marketers need to do a more in-depth job over here in terms of providing them the leads. Um, so how can the technology solve this? So today's technology, right? So this technology wasn't available 2, 3, 4 years ago. Now with the advent of AI and automation, this is becoming more and more possible. Yeah. So the first thing is that how can we look at a, an organization's connection in a single unified view? The CRM actually tells you the leads or the prospects. It does not tell you how everyone in the organization is connected to your potential target accounts. And this also reveals the low hanging fruit. So so, so basically, in terms of that, and just a very quick story, when Centric wanted to expand here in the US about 2 years ago, we came up with a really interesting issue that we did not knew that many people in the market over here. And we started spending a lot of time on LinkedIn. And then we figured out a lot of our own employees are connected to quite a few organizations uh, within the North American space. And we wanted to basically incentivize them or enable them to help us grow over here. So this is why the whole concept of LiProspect came about. So in a given organization, there are 8% salespeople, and there are 92% people that are non-sales. But if the organizational revenue grows, everyone sees the benefit. So in terms of LiProspect, what we do is we connect the organization's LinkedIn accounts, and that pulls the first degree connections of everyone from LinkedIn. So once we have those connections, we then can figure out whether our organization is deeply connected to a given organization. Let's take example of Shell. Yeah, is deeply connected. Like, do we have a lot of people over there, or we are very lightly connected? Like hanging with a single thread, and they might be one of our biggest accounts, right? So we would delve deeper into how well we are connected in that, because remember, your existing connections are the low hanging fruit in terms of generating the value immediately for the sales. The next bit where we are still working on is integrating the whole platform with a CRM system, so that we can pull the CRM data and feed it into AI, and basically from there generate ICP profiles for you, ICP personas for you, so ideal client personas or profiles for you, right? So it could be one, it could be multiple, and then basically we can look at who else your organization is connected with. So remember, we are talking about low hanging fruit, existing connections. So using that data as an example, you are really good in real estate industry in terms of selling your services. So, and in terms of real estate, you are really good at, like real estate companies which have between 50 and 100 employees. So, and that's your ICP, and you typically sell to the you typically sell to the marketing director over there, and CEO is involved. So CEO is the decision maker, but a very high level of influencer is the marketing director in that company. So we would look at all the companies in within your organizational unified database, and we will pull those organizations out and highlight that. Another problem that it solves for some of the organizations is that when you have a larger sales team, you typically give them different targets. Typically, these targets are based on different industries. And remember, when we saw earlier, what do buyers want to see? They want to see industry knowledge. So this is the right way of distributing the sales team in terms of industry verticals, instead of uh, putting them on product verticals. So but it could be that your sales employee one, but they have their connections in the transportation, and persona is HR, but their target is oil and gas, and persona is marketing. So how can the sales team work cohesively? And this is again where the whole unified contact database of the whole organization comes into play as well. And they can then review how the organization is connected to their target accounts, and figure out and nudge their fellow colleagues to help them get introduced into their target accounts. And basically, not only that, but then we can build automation on top, which means that doing the drip campaigns on different platforms to further expand the network of the whole organization overall. So how does that work? And I'm going to jump into a quick demo as well, but as soon as we finish this presentation. So very quickly, we invite the team into the platform. They come, they create their account, and then they connect their LinkedIn. So here, as an example, this is the low-hanging fruit for us. As an example, so these are all the people in Shell that we are connected to. Our different salespeople or leadership or account managers are connected to Shell within Centric. And we can further drill it down by going like, okay, so who are the people in Shell that we are connected to that have marketing in their job title? And then we can further go in and see, okay, these are the people that we are connected to, and then we can start to engage with them. One other interesting thing is the segments, and you can create, and we do create some automated segments. And as soon as our CRM analysis based on AI is going to further mature, a lot of these segments would be auto-created. Is basically you create segments, and then you can target people based on their specific segments. So basically, what we are doing now is that the marketing or the tools are going to create a very specific content at a very hyper scale, uh, using the same methodology as ABM, doing the right research, understanding the industry, looking at the news on what's happening with that particular company, and then basically use the real people within the organization to engage with those clients, and those real people are typically your sales team, right? So you sort of hand it over or utilize their accounts. As we mentioned, you can run further drip campaigns, and whether those drip campaigns go over LinkedIn or go over the email, that can be configured. And some of the campaigns that we are running right now, I'm going to jump into that. And basically, eventually, where we are planning to reach with this by end of this year is that have a HubSpot plugin, get closed one deal. So we are going to look at the associated company, associated industry, associated contacts, and line items. This would create an ideal customer profile because, to be honest, we have had ICP conversations with a lot of our clients, and if there are 10 people sitting in the room when we are having this workshop, there are 8 ICPs. And I'm sure most of you would agree with me that every salesperson has their own ICP in their mind. But here, once we get the data, we would know for sure what are the ICPs. And then based on the ICPs, we can look at the company contacts and which ICP can be contacted very, very quickly compared to others. And obviously, we are going to feed in the company profile and the services that we are trying to sell them. We are going to pick up the industry news and create a really specific and a targeted message. And this message then can be edited by the person, and emails and LinkedIn messages could be sent out. So thank you very much. Are there any questions at this point in time, or shall I just jump into the profile? Annette, are there any questions?
Nope, there's none in the Q&A panel or the chat. So if you do have a question for Khalid, you can use the raise hand icon at the top, and I can release your mic if you have any questions. Anybody?
All right, so let's just jump into how we are doing it within Centric, and we can take you from there. Let me just refresh this. All right. Okay. So you can see over here that some of the account managers and sales team is connected over here.
We
So
can't see
overall,
your screen. I don't.
oh, sorry. Yeah. Can you see the
Okay.
screen now?
Yeah, we can. Yeah. Thanks.
Awesome. Sounds great. So so basically, this is the dashboard. Let me first come to the team, show you how the team is connected. So this is how our team is connected to this tool. Obviously, these are not all the people. These are some of our account managers and project managers connected. Over here, you can see the people that do not have their LinkedIn connected right now. Um, then coming to the dashboard, um, let's go over what the whole organization is doing. So over here, you can see that we have, okay, no messages over the weekend turned on. So we don't send, like connection requests or drip campaigns over the weekend. So you can see over here that, like what are the number of connections going out from which profile on which day. Uh, if we come down, these are some of the segments that are created. Then we have something called the profile enrichment that we do for uh, some of some of the targets. I believe in ABM and relationship marketing, you're going to do it for everyone. So that gives us their birthdays and their employment history and so on and so forth. So over here, you can see, the number of connection requests being sent from my profile and my stats. So you can see that it's buzzing. My LinkedIn is actually buzzing, but even at midnight. Here you can see overall the latest connections that the team is making across different industries. Here you can see the inbox of the responses. Um, Let me go into my connections, show you how the segments are being done. So if I go to Kanban board, let's open Ismat. Yeah, so here are the contacts for Ismat, and I can add them to, to like the co-founder as an example. Yeah, so and to this guy, to whatever, chief executive officer. So then we can further run campaigns on these people, and I'll show you that shortly. If you want to do it in a more broad fashion, you can do it using the table in terms of my network, and this is what I like. So basically, let's go with I don't know. Let's go with Shell. So so these are all the people in Shell that we know. You see how easy that becomes if we have to target, let's say, Chevron tomorrow. I can just apply the filter and go like, okay, these are the people in Chevron that we know. Who are the marketing people? What's happening with that? I can go over here in terms of marketing, go apply. So these are the 4 marketing people in Chevron that we know. Um, let's go to Shell. And we know a lot more marketing people in Shell. So if somebody tells me who do you want to pitch later today between Chevron and Shell, I would rather go to Shell right now, just because we have more connections and we have more connects over here. So if you go to graphs, then you can see the graph of how your organization is connected. We can look at Chevron over here as well. We can look at, I don't know, Emirates airline. So in Emirates, these people are connected just to me, and so on and so forth. Yeah. um, so then comes the sequences part. Very quickly, I'm just finishing it off so that we can open it for question and answers. So you can have multiple messages. You can delay the messages in terms of timer, whether hours or days, how many, so over here, she's doing it after 2 days, send this message, so on and so forth. Hasn't enabled the emails. So once the AI part is going to be sorted within the tool, you could just go like, okay, send AI generated message, and I would like to approve it, or I don't need to approve it, so on and so forth. So if I show you the impact of that, let's say on my LinkedIn over here, another interesting bit that we have built into it is that LinkedIn has certain celebrations like your birthdays, work anniversaries, and stuff like that. So we have built that to send those messages automatically. So let me just refresh this. So you guys can see while I was talking to you, my LinkedIn was sending some birthday messages. Um, you can see overall, we have a lot of engagement in terms of um, just September 4th. If you want to look at like yesterday as the full day, so there would be at least like 50 messages that have gone out or back, or 30, 35, right? Where we are getting connected, our name is going out, etc. So yeah, so in terms of connections, let's just see. So you can see a lot of people are still sending connection requests. If I go into my connections, just look at for yesterday. So in the past, yeah, so here, So 5 more people have become my connections on which if a drip campaign is set, then that drip campaign would start to run as well. Uh, Sounds great. Any questions around that?
Let me just check the chat. Ian said, thanks for sharing. Clearly, it's not your first rodeo. So has anyone got any questions? If you like to raise your hand or put them in the Q&A. Okay, we have one from Caitlin. Is it challenging to manage ongoing conversations past the initial message at that volume?
So definitely, but the great thing over here is that, remember, you can manage these conversations either through LiProspect or through LinkedIn directly or through the emails, right? So you can always have virtual assistants if those conversations are going too high. So because, but I'll give you this example. So over here, so you can see the screen again, right?
Yep, you can see the screen.
Yeah,
Yep.
awesome.
Yep.
So as an example, if it's becoming too much for me, I can ask someone from the team to actually manage this, and they can come over here and they can switch these profiles and manage it, for everyone. So you can have basically one person managing it for everyone if there are 5-6 people, or if there are more, then you can actually add more people within the organization to manage this. So yeah, does it become does the volume go higher? Absolutely, but that's helping your organization.
Okay. Thanks, Imran. Hopefully that answered your question, Caitlin. We've got a couple more questions. Mitchell asks, how specific can you make the geography for new prospects?
Excellent. So there are multiple ways you can do it, and my screen is still shared, right? Awesome.
Yeah.
So once we come to campaigns, now we have different types of campaigns. We got the Sales Navigator campaigns, basic LinkedIn, custom import, and different segments, right? Segments are the ones that you are going to create over here, or you're going to import your list to a given segment. Custom import is typically what you are going to pull from, let me just open my Apollo. I think it's logged in into my other browser. So basically you can go using this bit, like exporting a list from Apollo and then sending it in there. Is you have practically unlimited number of filtration. So you can go like, okay, so I want marketing people. So very quickly, marketing people in, I want all the marketing people, but those that are not in Google. Oh, I said any of Google. So yeah, so all the Google marketing people, and location should be New York. And that's your all the marketing people in Google in New York. So, and you can also utilize LinkedIn filters, whether those are Sales Navigator filters or regular filters. So I can go marketing. So basic, uh, in terms of basic filtration on LinkedIn, it's not that great. We recommend going for Sales Navigator if you have something quite specific to target. So you can go with past companies, school, location and stuff like that. So you can go marketing, let's say company, where is the company? Okay, so I cannot add, current company. So let's do the same thing, Google, and can I do the geography in the basic? No, I cannot do, oh, here, yeah. So that basic level of filtering you can do on both the ends. And basically, in terms of this, there are 543 people in marketing in Google in New York. I can just take this URL and go ahead and create a campaign for them in the basic LinkedIn campaign, and it would pick it up. So campaign name, whatever, Google New York, and add that. And remember the sequences that we showed in the sequence. So whatever the sequence we want to run, whatever the LinkedIn profiles that we want to use. For this, I'm the system admin for my organization. That's why I'm seeing other profiles as well. But there is obviously role-based security here. So skip weekends, obviously run this campaign immediately, yes or no, whatever. So, and I can select multiple profiles. I can go like, okay, let's do Suman, Mariam, and Usman. So what this does is that this would, first of all, look at the second degree connections of everyone within Google, because that gives you a better response rate. And once those are done, then it does one more round and again does the second degree connections.
Okay, thank you. Hopefully, Mitchell, that answered your question.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And we have another from Attila. What is the difference between Sales Navigator and the LiProspect?
So in terms of Sales Navigator, it gives you really good filtration, but it does not do the job for you. So you cannot do drip campaigns on Sales Navigator. You cannot automate it that based on an answer, stop the drip campaign, so on and so forth. So this automates the whole thing. And this works on top of Sales Navigator or on your basic LinkedIn, or you can export the list from tools like Apollo or Seamless and import into LiProspect and just target those people. So at this point in time, and we do not provide a list of targets to you, so you have to bring in your own targets, whether that's through LinkedIn or through a third-party business intelligence platform.
Okay, thanks, Osman.
Mhm.
I don't think there's any more questions. You're still sharing your screen, by the way. Nope, I don't think there's any more questions. Just checking Q&A as well. No.
So I have a question. I
Yeah.
hope someone can answer that. Are there any other features? Is that something that you guys would be interested in terms of the whole concept of ABM morphing into relationship marketing and producing content at a hyper scale specific to certain people? And do you reckon that as marketer you would be pushing back on sales on that, or you would be taking the responsibility for it?
Okay, I think if you want to type your answer in the chat, we'll give you a few minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Just while we're waiting, Mitchell has another question. Is this tool geared specifically to marketing professionals or sales professionals or both?
Both. I would say both. So typically what we see is that a marketing professional purchases the tool, but connects all the salespeople in there as well.
Great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And depending on the size of the company, of course. So the larger enterprises, we are seeing a lot of success managers connecting to their existing customers. Uh, for comparatively smaller organizations where they are doing, ABM type of marketing, that's where we see marketing coming and purchasing the tool and adding some people from their sales as well.
I'm not seeing any responses, Usman, to your question. Obviously, people
Awesome.
don't want to tell you.
That stays a secret. We get to find out later in this year.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I don't know whether anyone is typing or not. I can't tell if anyone's typing a response to Usman, but I think if no one has any more questions, we'll give everyone back 10 minutes of today. Thank you very much, Usman, for the presentation today. Thank you very much for everyone attending. We have recorded the webinar and we'll send you a link to the recording as well. So you're happy to share it with friends. Okay, thank you very much. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you, everyone.
Usman.
Thanks.